Champions Trophy's over. India won that. So we'll move on to the next topic in cricket, and that's the IPL, which just starts around the corner. We've got a couple of guests on board right now. They want to ask me a few questions. So what about we get straight into it? We'll get the guests on, and then at the end of this live, I'll go through and show you what my letter is. So can we get the guests on, please, AK? It's Neil and Niraj. Neil, how you going? You're from Hyderabad?
Yes, that is correct. Yes, I'm from Hyderabad. Yeah.
Right. What's the temperature there like in Hyderabad? Is it getting hot before the IPL?
Very much so. I would say so. Yeah, it's a bit humid. Yeah.
Yep. Looking at your team, it's going to get heated as well. Niraj, you're from Pune. You go for RCB. Oh my God. You must have plenty of hankies ready for this year.
Yeah, we have a lot of injuries. And a bit of players are
so a few injuries. So we've got a few problems. We can talk about that through this live. So let's get straight into the questions. Let's not muck around. Neil, can you get your first question to me, please? We'll go with you from Hyderabad.
Yeah. So my first question, and this is not really related to any team, unrelated question. So my question is, now that the IPL is more than 2 months old, right? 2 months long, right? So do you think there is a possibility for a team to lose first few matches and then eventually go into the playoffs and win the title? This hasn't happened before. Do you think this is the year for that to happen?
So you've asked lose a couple of matches and then get into the playoffs out the back end.
Yeah, perform very badly in the first half and then in the second half, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. If you've only won one game in your first 7 games, play 14 games, I think it is. If you've lost one game in your first 7 games, you still have a chance of getting in those playoffs. Because once you get on that winning streak, all of a sudden, bang, you're unstoppable. Sometimes those teams that win out the front, they win 6 games in a row, 7 games in a row. All of a sudden, they start to lose momentum. So it's all about getting momentum at the right time. If you look at Kolkata Knight Riders, they try and muck around with their combinations out the start. They sort of chop and change their team to try and get that right combination, what they want. And then after about 4 or 5 games, maybe 6 games, once they're settled with an 11 that they think is going to win the championship out the back end, they will stick with them. Whereas other teams will try and get that combination from the start and won't chop and change. So KKR do it a little bit differently to others, but there is always a chance to win from behind in the IPL. It depends too on your overseas players as well, how they're actually handling the competition, because if they're feeling homesick, they're not having a good run of it, all of a sudden they can start bringing some negativity in the group as well. So you want to make sure that you're monitoring your overseas players, that they're feeling comfortable, they're feeling at home. And it's the same for the Indian players as well. But you've just got to make sure that everyone is feeling comfortable throughout the tournament, because it is a long tournament. You're sitting in hotels, and players can get a little upset and lose a little focus out time. So that's where you've got to monitor it. So if you're having a bad run, you've got a good coaching staff, you can turn things around very, very quickly. That's a very good question, Neil. Very, very good question. So that's the most important part of your coaching staff, is to keep your playing group in a positive frame of mind. And also the owners as well, when things aren't going right, if you've got good owners like KKR, I've played with KKR and even Rajasthan Royals, when things aren't going right, they don't interfere. They just say, right, is there anything more that you need to turn things around? So they help out in that aspect. Very good question. Niraj, can you bring your first question into the fray, please?
Yeah, actually, mine is I can ask your second question first. Actually, this is related to what you're talking about. Like
Yep.
many athletes, like find IPL very highly stressful, and like how can we make more enjoyable? Actually, that was my second question. Like
Yeah, hang on. The volume, we're having a bit
players.
of a problem with the volume here at the moment. I just can't hear. Can you speak up a bit, please? Can you just make sure your microphone volume's up a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, yeah, now I can. Yep.
Yeah, so my question was related to what you're talking about. Like a lot of foreign athletes, means from English, mostly English or Australian players, kind of find IPL quite stressful, maybe because of the heat and all, or something like that. Like, how can we make it more enjoyable? Like, in it gets very hard sometimes. Like
Yeah,
the
look,
IPL in itself.
at the end of the day, these players that are coming over to play IPL, they have got to adjust to the conditions. They've got to be prepared before they get here. You know that it's going to be hot. You know that it's going to be humid. You know that it's going to be tough as well. But you've got to sit there and go, right, if things aren't right, how am I going to cope with it? What tools have I got in the shed to be able to say, right, I'm going to turn it around and I am going to enjoy this tournament. So for me, when I was over here playing for Rajasthan Royals and Kolkata Knight Riders, I knew that I wasn't going to play every game. And when I got to the Kolkata Knight Riders, Kuldeep Yadav was there as well. So I had it in my mission that I'm coming to the end of my career. I'd love to play as much as I can for Kolkata Knight Riders, but the more important thing is that there's a young kid there coming through that bowls my stuff, and I was really excited for him to get those opportunities. And so you've got to make sure that you've got a goal both on the field and off the field as well. How can you make a difference to that team? How can you make an impact to that team? Because if you're going to win an IPL competition, it's about building culture. So if I'm playing for Western Australia, the Perth Scorchers, which is from my home team, or Australia, it's easy to build a culture there because we're all on the same page. We've all got similar background. But when you come into an IPL, you've got players coming from different countries, and you've got to make sure that you sit there and go, right, this is so exciting. I get to learn the different culture in India. I get to meet some West Indian players. I get to meet some South African players. I get to grow my friendship group. So that helps get over that toughness. And at the end of the day, the very end of the day, these guys are making a living out of something that they love to do, and that's play cricket. I think if they're going through a bad patch, they've got to sit back and go, right, hang on, there's people out here working 12 hours a day, 10 hours a day sometimes, digging holes outside. Would I want to be digging holes, or would I want to be playing cricket? Right, you're playing cricket, suck it
Yeah.
up, tough it out, and move forward. Yes, you're going to have tough times on the cricket field. Yes, things aren't going to go right, but you could be in a worse place. So that's the way that they've got to think about it. All the Australians love coming over here. I'm not going to mention any names. There was one Australian that did struggle when he came over here, but he'd only just started with a new family as well. So he was actually missing his family. And after that particular IPL, he didn't come back because family is more important. So you got to get your priorities right as well. So if you find it hard coming over, don't put your name in the auction. It's not for you. It's as simple as that. And that's where coaches and scouts have to do their research. So if I was a scout for an IPL team, someone like a Harry Brook, right? Yes, he's got a lot of talent,
Yeah.
but is he going to come? He's already pulled out once. What other issues does he have? What's going on in the rest of his life? So you really look and you try and sum up whether that particular player has got the mental attitude to be able to partake and be consistent in an IPL and will be there the whole time. He wants to be there. Does that player want to be there? So those are the questions you've got to ask as a scout. It's just not about the talent. It's about the attitude of the player as well. So for me, it's not about the best team on paper. It's about the best team that creates a strong culture. And that's why Kolkata Knight Riders have been successful. That's why the Mumbai Indians and Chennai have been successful. It's about getting a good group of people in the system. Good question. Good question. Neil, what's your second question, please?
My second question is, who do you think is the best bowling team in the tournament?
Who do I think is the best bowling team in the competition? Mayank Yadav is injured at the present moment, but I was looking at Lucknow, and because they've got a full Indian contingent, I really like their bowling attack. I think if I'm looking at an IPL team, you go with strong Indians. You either go with strong Indians or strong overseas in the pace department, and you try and balance that with Indian spinners. So I really like the fact that Lucknow have gone with an all Indian attack. They understand the conditions. So I really like Lucknow. I really like Chennai. I think they've recruited really well. I was looking at it. They've got Paddy Rana there from overseas, who's got good Yorkers and bowls out the death. But they've also got Nathan Ellis there as well that they can use in those middle overs with his slower ones. But then they can balance it out with the two spinners of Ashwin and Jadeja, who can bat as well. So they've got plenty of depth in their bowling department. And Mumbai Indians. You have to go with Mumbai Indians with their pace attack. They're probably a little light on in spin, but with that pace attack out Mumbai, out Wankhede Stadium, I think they've got an ultimate attack that's going to be very hard to get a hold of. You've got Bolt, who's very good with the new ball, and you've got Boomerang, who can use at different phases of the innings. So they're probably my best bowling attacks going in the IPL. That's a good question, eh? That's a good question, yeah. What about Niraj?
Yeah. So my second question was like is IPL in general is it saving cricket or it's breaking cricket? As in I am saying, as in the international, mostly it affects Test cricket. I guess English cricketers complain a lot, or commentators.
Yeah.
Maybe due to Test cricket or the schedule, there's English domestic cricket going on at the same time when IPL is going on. So mostly from English side, there's a lot of disturbance there. They say that IPL has sort of break it, but and my question is, did it break it or it saved cricket? Because a lot of teams are not as good as it used to be, like West Indies.
Oh, exactly right. I think the IPL, it's a bit of both. They're making it, but they're also breaking it as well. Where's Test cricket going to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time? Talking to a lot of people here around Delhi in the Entertainers Cricket League competition that I'm playing in now, a lot of these players that are playing in it haven't played first-class cricket, but they've been in the academy system around India, especially in Maharashtra or in Mumbai. And they're saying the next generation of cricketers that are coming through are wanting to play IPL, not so much for India. IPL is the goal. That's the worry for me moving forward. Where is Test cricket going to be in the future? Also, the other on a serious note is the IPL teams owners buying other teams around the globe. So when I think of that, let's say Perth Scorchers gets bought by an Indian franchise. Who are we developing cricketers for? Are we developing cricketers for the IPL, or are we developing cricketers for Australia? So if kids coming through don't have that dream of wearing a baggy green, that's our Australian cap, will they be interested in playing just Big Bash cricket and IPL cricket? And will we be able to keep the numbers up that we've got right now with that interest of playing IPL cricket over Test cricket? That's the big worry for me, is are we able to keep numbers up around the world if it just comes to T20 cricket and Indian owners are owning these franchises around and Test cricket does die. So it's making and breaking it. It's bringing in some good money. It's bringing in opportunities for other players to earn some good money. But when it comes to the international stage, Test cricket is really hurting. Will one day cricket survive or Test cricket survive? They're the two competitions that are hurting out the present moment. And then you've got another issue as well. You've got fast bowlers, especially going from Test cricket to T20 cricket, back to Test cricket. It's too much on their bodies. You can't go from an endurance athlete to a sprinting athlete or a power athlete in a short period of time. So there's so much that the ICC and the BCCI and other cricket boards have to talk about moving forward. Where is cricket going to be in 10 years' time? What does the next generation want? They are the questions that you've got to ask, because on a marketing perspective, it's about keeping those younger kids interested in the game of cricket to play it. So if they want to play IPL, T20 cricket around the leagues, well, how can we focus it so that we keep the excitement of the game of cricket in all these other countries as well? So that's a really good question. It's making it, but it's also breaking it in a sense. But it's asking some good questions. It's asking some challenging questions, because the world is changing. Everyone's interest is changing. Everyone wants to be entertained in short, sharp spurts. So we might have to go to more T20 cricket than Test cricket. And as you said, Sri Lanka, West Indies are dropping off in that Test arena. Pakistan are dropping off as well. So we've got some big issues there. Is the Test game entertaining enough and financially viable enough to go forward? If it's not financially viable, why are we trying to still put a heap of money into it when we should be putting more money into something that is more sustainable, more viable, and more entertaining for the generation that's coming through next? They're the questions that we've got to ask. And if we want to keep Test cricket surviving, how do we make it more entertaining for that next generation coming through to actually want to play it? So do we have to change a few aspects of Test cricket for that next generation? Yes, I'm an old player. I'm a traditionalist, but traditionalists don't keep the game surviving in 10 years' time. It's the next generation that's more important. So that's where I stand on that one. Good point. Good question. Neil, have you got your third question, please?
I don't have a third question, but I can ask like a follow-up question here. What do you think about Test cricket? Like, so every team can play T20Is, right? Not every team can play international Test cricket, right? You make the point of saying that Test cricket should be given high preference, right? Do you think this should be the case, or it should be changed? You think?
Should I? What, Test cricket changed?
Yeah. So, do you think every team should be given an opportunity to play international Test cricket?
As far as I'm concerned, 2 years ago, I did a vlog on a calendar for the year where I put Test cricket in groups of 4. So you have the top 4 teams playing, then you have the next 4 teams playing, then the next 4 teams playing. And you can go into the associates there. They can play one-off tests, and if associate nations are improving, then they can go up the scale over the decades to get to the top. And every 2 years you have a playoff where the bottom 2 teams of each group play the top 2 teams of the bottom group to see if they stay in that their group or they get relegated. And then you have the final as well. And that final, those finals is a 6 series final where you play 3 at home and 3 away. And same with the challenging test matches, 3 at home, 3 away. So then you've got some consistency there, and then you've got teams or countries being able to develop their players and see where the importance is for Test cricket. If there's no importance for Test cricket, they'll drop off in the Test arena and they'll concentrate on the white ball format. So for me, I think we've got to start ranking teams, and then those better teams that provide better games are going to play more games against each other. And the lesser teams are going to be more entertaining in the white ball format where they can keep up their skills in that format and hopefully keep the game surviving there and play more. So less Test cricket if they don't want to play or go up to the top ranks, and play more white ball cricket and maybe have a bigger T20 competition in their country to be able to generate interest with their youngsters coming through. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but that's the way I'd like to go about it. Yeah, it's a good question and it's a challenging question. These are really good questions. Yeah, the politics of cricket. Neeraj.
Yeah. So my question would be like, the T20 World Cup happened in 2024, right? So I
Yep.
actually saw a lot of games from other countries like Scotland, what do you say, Ireland. Ireland didn't play well, but their individual players really played well. Like Mark Adair, his name is, or something like that. He's like a all rounder, and there were 3 Scottish players. One was their captain. Like they really played well, but they s- and Netravalkar was one of them. Like from USA, he was a fast bowler. He played under 19 for India as well. But like in IPL, like the what do you say, the franchises didn't went for them. Like the Scottish, Ireland, and USA player. Like we want to expand uh, the league, right? So they should have went for them. They were actually
Yeah,
really good. I
it's an
thought.
interesting one. If I was a coach or a selector of a squad in an IPL team, would I go for those particular players? To be honest, no. The reason being is they're not exposed to high pressure situations consistently. They only get to perform in those scenarios in short periods of time, and that's a T20 World Cup or a one-day international World Cup, where they get the opportunities to play against the big boys, and that's the only time you really see them get challenged. So if you're going to go for someone outside a top test playing nation, you go for those mystery spinners that you can train to handle the pressure, and you have other bowlers around them that they can create the pressure for those mystery spinners to come into the fore. So yeah, for me, I wouldn't go for a batter. I wouldn't go for a fast bowler or a regulation spinner. It would have to be a mystery spinner. So yeah, they don't get challenged enough to be able to say, right, they're ready for IPL, and that's why they're not getting picked. It's unfair, but that's the way life goes. That's the crunch of IPL cricket, and that's the crunch of the world out bay. You know, you've got your own journey. There's opportunities that are going to come. There's opportunities that aren't going to come. You've got to put yourself in the best place and hope that someone sees your talent and just gives you that opportunity, and you take it, and you have a little bit of luck, and your career blossoms. So it's pretty hard for those associate nations to get those opportunities. When it comes to the T20 leagues around, so like the Dubai League that they have, I think it's the ITL T20, where I think Kolkata have got a team over there. They might be able to try one or two of those particular players in that particular tournament just to see if they might be capable of playing IPL cricket. Other than that, I wouldn't pick them for an IPL tournament. No way. So it's a good question. Neil, have you got a question there? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really related to ICC, IPL, but yeah. So I did see a question in the comments. It's related to that question. So the Olympics, right? In 2028, I believe, cricket once again will be part of Olympics.
Yep.
Where do you see it? Like, where do you see Olympics and ICC trophies? Which do you think will be more? Not right now, but maybe in 10 years' time. Which do you think will be more prestigious, sort of?
I think the World Cup will definitely be more prestigious. I think when you go to the Olympics, you know, can we play cricket in every Olympics? Let's say we go to, I was going to say Russia, but Russia's probably a bad word at the present moment, but that's a cold country out there, or Sweden, or Switzerland. How are we going to play cricket in the Olympics there? Is it going to be good enough? Will it be a good enough show? Will they be able to have the grounds to be, or the facilities to be able to produce a quality competition? So for me, the World Cup's more prestigious. The only reason why you want cricket in the Olympics is because you want to spread the game around the world, and that's the best way to get it on centre stage. Other than that, I don't think it's a prestigious event. We had it in the Commonwealth Games a couple of years ago, and the boys really had a good time over there. They had fun. I think it was in Malaysia, but the competition really struggled because the facilities weren't as good as what we've got in Australia, India, England, South Africa, and so forth. So when it comes to the Olympics, could be a bit of a problem there. So yeah, I don't think it's sustainable in the Olympics because you play or you have the Olympics out different countries all around the globe. But good question there. I'm just going to take a question from the floor. VB, KKR have Sunil Narayan, Quinton de Kock, Ajinka Rahane, a few others, Venkatesh Iyer. What should be their top three? My top three would be Sunil Narayan opening with de Kock. Then you can have some proper batters down the list. Ajinka Rahane out three, because if Sunil Narayan doesn't come off, Ajinka Rahane comes in out three. If the two openers get through the first 4, maybe 5 overs, and they've got a very high strike rate, then drop Ajinka Rahane down the order. Only use Ajinka Rahane as a backup for Sunil Narayan or de Kock failing up the top there, where he can just play that conservative role and just work the team back in the contest. I think Ajinka Rahane being captain of Kolkata Knight Riders is the best choice, the ultimate choice, because he's a senior player and they need to be led by a senior player. Venkatesh Iyer, you just want him to concentrate on his own game. He's had his struggles over the last year or two. He had 250s last year and he was awesome. Okay, I'm going to take one question each from you guys, and then we're going to have to close up because I've got to go and do some stuff for the ECL. So who's going to ask that first question? Neeraj?
I can ask.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, can I ask related to the Champions Trophy, or it should be related to IPL? Okay.
Yeah.
So in Champions Trophy final, New Zealand missed out on who did miss out? Sorry, actually we went blank. Henry. Okay, so New Zealand missed out on Henry. So I thought it was a blessing in disguise because India was anyways going for a spin attack. So they should have went for Mark Chapman because he was also similar to Santner. Like they would have just copied like Akshar and Jadeja does. They should have went for Mark Chapman. Like he was fielding, but he didn't played, and maybe he would have done some damage, but they didn't even pick him. They picked some other fast bowler, but there was no use for fast bowler. Even our
Yep.
bowler struggle.
Yep, I agree with you in some respects. I think Smith, the all rounder that they played instead of Chapman, is a medium pacer. I think they thought, right, he's probably a better bat than Chapman in those conditions. We've got Ravindra, we've got Phillips who can bowl, we've got Bracewell, and we've got Santner. So we've got 4 spinners there. We need some depth in our batting. So we'll go with a better batter rather than a spinner. So that I think that's why New Zealand went that way. The other thing is too, if they had Henry, Smith wouldn't have played, so their batting depth would have been depleted. So without Henry, I thought, right, or the way that they were thinking, we've got enough spin in here. We need better depth in our batting. We're going to go with Smith. That's a good observation, but Neeraj, good observation. I love that. Yep. Neil?
Yeah, one last question. So, who do you think, or which team do you think will have the best opening partnership, or sorry, combination?
The opening combination.
Yes.
Which team has the opening combination? I think Chennai are very good. They've got Gaikwad and Conway. Lucknow will probably go with Bodoni and Markram as the opening combination. I'll just go through this. Rickleton and Sharma from Mumbai. That's going to be very dominant, and I really like Rickleton, so I'd have them out number 1 probably. De Kock, Butler, no. De Kock and Narayan from Kolkata. That's probably mid-table for me. Gill and Butler. Gujarat Titans picking up Butler. Rajasthan Royals not retaining Butler. That is a big boo-boo. So that opening combination is probably going to be the best in the competition, followed by Rickleton and Kohli, Patadar. For RCB would be 4th. Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head. They'll be 3rd for me. I've got Rahul and Fraser McGurk from Delhi Capitals. They'll be in the back end of opening partnerships for me because one's too slow, one's too aggressive, and is not consistent enough. Jaswal, Jural from RR, they're in the middle. Punjab Kings, I don't know which Singh is going to open the batting with Inglis, but they're in a world of hurt with their batting department. And so for me, it's Gill and Butler, the best opening partnership that you've got in this IPL tournament. Would you agree with me?
I would probably go with my home team, Hyderabad, but
Yep.
yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by the answer, but yeah, it makes complete sense. Yeah.
Yep. Who do you think's going to win?
Probably. Sorry, go ahead.
Neeraj, who do you think will win? Who do you think will win the
I didn't
IPL?
hear his answer.
Oh, he hasn't said anything.
Oh, actually, for me, according to my understanding, like I hate to say it, but I think it's SRH.
Right. And Neil, you'd say SRH?
Probably not. Maybe. I think it should. I think we need to maybe wait until the mid-season to have like a good prediction. But I think Mumbai is looking very good. They have a good opening combination as well as the bowling. I think they have good pace attack. I think the opening bowling is also very good. Not sure about the depth, but yeah, maybe I'll go with Mumbai for now if you want an answer from me. But I think SRH should be in the home.
Beautiful. Now I'm going to answer a couple of questions here quickly. Nickel Palmer, what do you guys think about Gujarat Titans? Do you see them in the top 4? The Gujarat Titans, I see them being challengers. Do I see them in the top 4? They're definitely going to be in the top 5. What I like about them is their top 3 and their bowling department. You've got plenty of options with the bowling. But their middle order in Khan, Phillips, Tawadia, Sundar, and Rashid Khan, I just think they might not be as consistent as other teams in the middle order, Nikhil. That's where their weakness is. But they're bowling Rashid Khan, Rabada, Siraj, and they'll either go with Krishna or Ishan Sharma. I'd go with Krishna there. And then they've got an impact player of Rowat or Lomraw. So for me, they rely heavily on their top three and their bowlers. So that's a good question there. Gushan Singh Sangra, one of the most underdog teams among the big names, remains Gujarat Titans. All I want from them is to promote Washington top the order. He is still the most less utilised player in the Indian circuit. Gushan, that's a good question. That's a good point. Will Washington Sundar go up the order? Actually, you could probably bat him in front of Shurat Khan. Shurat Khan comes in at 7 or maybe 6 with Rahul Tawadia, and use Sundar 4 or 5 with Glenn Phillips. Give him more of an opportunity. Yes, indeed, I agree with you there. I feel Markram and Ash Kulkarni will open for LSG, and Badoni will come in as an opener in place of Mohsin. Yes, good point there, Gushan. I like what you're saying there. Are there any other questions here? Hi, guys. As IC tournament happening every year nowadays, do you think the value of ICC trophies are deteriorating? Nikhil, that's a good point. I don't think they need the ICC Champions Trophy. Scrap that one. Just play a one-day World Cup, one-day International World Cup, T20 World Cup, Test Championship. You've got one ICC tournament for all three tournaments. Right, guys, I'm quickly going to go through my order of IPL teams. Oh, what have we got there, AK? Question. Direct hit. How good man manager is Ponting? Can he keep the Punjab owners away from the side? Ricky's got his work cut out up there, I'm sorry. But you've got one of the best thinkers of the game there, one of the most successful players, captains going around. He's a great coach, great thinker of the game. You want to interfere as owners, it's at your own detriment. And Shreyas Iyer is a good captain. He's a good leader. He knows what he wants, and those two work well together. Yes, they haven't got the best of squads, but they've got two good leaders there. The owners have to stay away. And I saw the owners out the auction there, and Ricky Ponting didn't want a certain player, and the owners spent big on that particular player. I can't remember who it was, but I was wondering why the hell they were actually going for that player. It wasn't too good. So I'm going to go through my list of IPL teams who will finish on the ladder, but might not. This will be to the playoffs. And the playoffs, anything can happen. I think Chennai will be in the top 4. I've got them out 1. Lucknow at number 2 because of their strong Indian bowling contingent and their strong overseas batting lineup. Mumbai Indians out 3 because they've got some good all-rounders there. The KKR coming in at 4 because they're my team and they've always got a good culture there. Gujarat Titans coming in at 5. RCB coming in at 6. I'm sorry, Niraj, but RCB coming in at 6. They just don't pick right. They really don't pick right. SRH coming in at 7. I'm just worried about their middle order, but they've really got they've got a reasonable bowling lineup and a good top 4. Delhi Capitals, they come next. No, actually, I'll go RR next, and then the Delhi Capitals. And then there's one team left, and that's Ricky Ponting's Punjab Kings. They come in at last for me in this IPL. All right, thanks very much for joining us, you two, Niraj and Neil. Really enjoyed it. Some scintillating questions there. You guys have a good time. Good luck to SRH for you, Neil. Good luck to RCB, Niraj. And good luck to KKR for you, Mr. Hogg. Hey. Anyway, that's Hogg out.